What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another Ask Coach Stone. That's right, I'm Coach Stone. I'm an author, a speaker, a personal development teacher, founder of the Passion Impact Profit Program. And I like to go live on here a couple of times a week to answer your questions about business, entrepreneurship, mindset, crushing your goals, whatever questions you might have right now. So I love coming on here. I love answering questions. This is an opportunity for you to go live, ask me anything that you want. And then I also sometimes like to have little topic starters. And last time we were here, we talked a little bit about, what did we talk about? We talked about how fear shows up in our lives. And that was a really powerful conversation. I think I saved that. I might have to upload it again. But today, we're just going to talk about whatever you want to talk about. And then I also have something interesting that I might bring up in terms of, how to level up your life with different relationships and how to level up your business with relationships. So often in life, people call themselves self-made. I'm a self-made millionaire. I'm a self-made business owner. They take all of the credit for getting where they are in their life and in their business. And we all get where we are because of a few things, our faith and our friendships and our business relationships and our personal relationships. So that's what we're going to talk a little bit about today. We're just going to talk a little bit about how you level up your life and your business with different relationships. Because so often people talk about, I'm self-made. I did it on my own. Or, and they don't acknowledge the other people that kind of helped them to get there. And I'm not saying that people, haven't started from living in poverty and worked their way up to becoming a millionaire. But along the way, we've all had help. Whether it was you found the right partner in life, you found the right business partners, you got the right opportunities, somebody opened the door for you. And I think that's one of the things that we don't hear people talk about a lot. We hear people, saying that it was all me. And, when you look at highly successful people, they'll be the first to tell you that it wasn't all them. It was a little bit of luck. It was about taking advantage of the right opportunities. It was about meeting the right people, the right mentors, the right business partners. It was about having the right husband or wife who was supportive. So that's a little bit about what I want to talk about today. Let's talk about relationships and how personal and business relationships can help you level up your life or level up your business. And I was just on a business call right before this, and then I was shooting some episodes of my podcast. And the guy that I was talking to is really interesting because sometimes the way that you form business relationships or friendships, it kind of comes about in a roundabout way. And, I'm the type of person that's always open to new things and meeting new people and so on. And so I met this guy probably about 6 years ago. We were at some networking event, and him and I just kind of hit it off. We kind of became friends over the years. He ended up running some government-run programs, and he knew that I was a speaker and a coach and a teacher. And then he just kind of hit me up one day and asked me, could I come in and do some work with this program? And it's been about 3 or 4 years now that I've been working with them. And, I think one of the things that we have to realize is that, how do relationships, level up your life or your business? You know what I'm saying? That's something that I want to kind of talk about today. And, how the right relationships level up your business and your life. So, do you guys agree with this or not? When you hear people, when you think of people who you follow who are highly successful, and do you think that a lot of them are completely self-made, they've done it all on their own? Or do you think when you look at highly successful people, do you think that it was really about some of the relationships that they had over those years that really helped them to get to that high level of success? What do you guys think? And what do you think about even with yourself, right? I'm just amazed because I always hear people talking about, I think a lot of sort of where people get in their life, if they have some level of success in whatever it is. Maybe it's business, maybe it's success in terms of you having monetary things, maybe it's investments or any type of whatever success looks like for you. But when I see a lot of people who get a certain level of success in their lives and they stand up and they thank themselves. I want to thank myself for being successful. I want to thank me and nobody else. I'm sure you've probably seen that many times. And I just find it kind of interesting that people just say it was all them. Now I'm not saying that you're not the one that has to make these business decisions, take these risks, do the things that you have to do. But I'm always fascinated by people who stand up and just thank themselves for all of their success. What do you guys think about that? Do you agree with that or disagree? Because when you're talking about when you're looking at think about where you are in terms of your life and your business, right? Like how have some of your relationships shaped who you are? In a positive way, because we've all had relationships that have gone the wrong way, right? But how has what has some of these relationships done for you in your business or in your personal life? Like I've had some really strong business partnerships over the years, but I keep my business circle really small. I don't put myself out there when it comes to my business in terms of partnerships until I understand what the other person or the company is all about. I'm just that way. I'm just the type of person where if I feel that I have to see what you're bringing to the table first in terms of your contributions to other people, how you treat people. All of those things are important to me. And I see a lot of people sell out on their values for business. I see people do that all the time. I see people that, put things aside for the purposes of business. And sometimes that's why business relationships dissolve, right? Because, you'll get into business with somebody who you don't believe in. Their values are completely disconnected from yours, all for the sake of money. And almost always that doesn't work out. Almost always, when you sell out on your values and your beliefs for money, it hardly never works out. And so, I think it's really important to get into business relationships with people that, you believe in, people that, you see treat well, people who are knowledgeable in their field and their expertise, and not just be focused on money. Like I've turned down jobs, I've turned down, business partnerships because I didn't really believe in the organization or I didn't believe in that individual. And people thought I was crazy. Here's an example. I used to manage training and do coaching for a career center. And I remember when I moved to Toronto from another city, Nova Scotia. I moved from a small city to the big city of Toronto, Canada. And at that time, I had been managing a career center for a long, I think 4 or 5 years at that point. Then I moved to Toronto and I wanted to start fresh. I was like, okay, I want to do something different. And I remember that it took me a while to find jobs that I was interested in. And then I remember getting a call from this career center saying, hey, we love your resume. Would you love to come in and interview for the position? So I reluctantly went into the interview because I was trying to get away from doing what I had already done. I went in, I ended up landing the job. And then somebody I knew, was a friend of mine, somebody I had met through some networking thing, but we had kept in touch. He said, hey, there's this job coming up at one of the biggest colleges here. Would you be interested in the job? So I ended up taking this job as a frontline employee through a contact that I met. And I turned down a job making $25,000 more because what's up, Deebs? because I didn't want to go back to doing the same thing. And it was all because that one person put me onto the job. And they recommended me, even though they didn't even really know me. We've only had, I think, 2 or 3 conversations over the last year and a half. They put me onto the job at this college. I ended up getting the job. It was a frontline job. And then within 6 months, I moved up, and and within a year, I ended up managing training for the whole college, right? So my point is that, like, when you have the right business relationships or personal relationships, they can really level up your life and take you to a different place. And the hardest part for a lot of us is letting go of those business relationships and those personal relationships that are really holding us back. And it's usually because we have history with that person. And sometimes you got to put some distance between you and other people. What's up, Ernie? Sometimes you got to put distance between you and some people because sometimes they're holding you back because their mindset is very negative and they always see the glass as empty, completely empty. But sometimes it's just they're not even trying to level up their life. You know, have you ever kind of been in a circle of people where nobody's doing anything different? Everybody's kind of staying in their lane. You hang out with them. You guys always do the same thing. You always have the same discussions. It's like, you know, I'm different now. You know, I'm in a different stage in my life now. Why would I go back to hanging out with guys who are still in their, who are in their 40s talking about going out to the club and picking up different girls, right? So those kind of people I had to leave behind because I don't have that mindset. And so a lot of us are afraid to kind of leave or put some distance between us and people who just aren't even like moving their life forward. It's not even necessarily sometimes about them being negative or them, you know, trying to hold you back. It's just that their mindset hasn't elevated. They're still like, they're 40, but they're still thinking like a 19-year-old or a 21-year-old. Can anybody relate to this? Let me know if you can relate to that. Type yes if you can kind of relate to that. Like, you know, have you ever been in a group of people or been around people where nobody's elevating their life? We're still having the same conversations we've had for the last 5 years. We still go hang out, they still want to hang out and go to the club and still do the things that we were doing at 21. You know, nobody's trying to be responsible. Like, has anyone ever been in that situation where some of your closest friends just weren't elevating themselves? You're like, bro, you're 43. You're like the old dude in the club. You're really going to go to the club and try to chop some girl when you're like 40, 43, 44? We're not 21. And if you do get a girl, she wants your money. So I had to put some distance between me and people like that, you know. Deep said, I'm a glass is half full of vodka right now. Yeah, I like that. Long as it ain't half empty, brother. Long as it ain't half empty. But you know what I'm saying? Like it's hard for us to put distance between us and other people that we have history with. And man, I've had to do that in my life because I'm just not like, I'm always trying to think about what's next, like investments and, you know, how to elevate my life with my family and enjoying a glass of vodka at 2:00 in the afternoon, like Deebs. Like, but I don't know about you. I just can't be around people who aren't trying to level up their life. Like, because when you're around people who are doing big things now, you feel like you got to do things. Like the people that I hang around with are like, I mean, they're doing amazing things in the world. You know, I'm hanging around people that are like, you know, multimillionaires, people who are very generous with their time, people who are like impacting thousands and thousands of people. So how can I hang around people like that and do nothing, right? They force me to elevate my game. They force me to level up in terms of my life and my business. Like I never used to be into meditation and mantras and all that kind of stuff. Then I started hanging around this millionaire and I said, how did you get to this level? And he said, my morning ritual. So I asked my millionaire friend, he's like, these are the things that I do every single morning. This is the foundation for what got me to becoming a multimillionaire. So what am I going to do? See, what happens when you level up your life or when you're around people who level up, you only do 2 things. One, you stop hanging out with them because you feel that you can't get to that level or you're not willing to put in the work. So you're just like, man, I got to stop hanging out with these guys. I feel too inadequate. I'm not at their level. Or 2, you got to raise your game. You got to step it up. You got to do more. You got take the lessons that these guys are giving you and take and implement them into your own life. And so that's what I do, you know. And it's not just about money. Like sometimes it's just about mindset. Sometimes it's about when I see, you know, how people interact with their family, you know, I admire that. Or when I see people who are just like, who see things from different angles. It's not always about money. Like you can level up your life in different ways. Health and wellness, you know, education, somebody who puts a lot of time and effort into, you know, learning new skills. You know, a good friend of mine, he's that type of way. He's the kind of person where you have a conversation with him and he's always talking about something new that he learned. But the thing about it is he makes it relevant. So how we can all use it right now. So those are the kind of people that I hang around. And that's why, you know, I used to have this old negative mindset. I used to like wish that I could make 50 grand a year. You know what I mean? I used to have this kind of just put these limits on myself. And once I started associating with, you know, people who are on a whole different level in terms of their life and business, my life started to elevate. Dave said, I'm thinking I'm allowed to go for my second jog to the shop to get more beer here in the UK. I love that, man. You got to get that exercise in, right? Hey, that's one way to level up your life. You got to exercise. So what about you guys? Anybody want to go live and ask me any questions about this, or you want to tell me about a relationship, whether it's a personal relationship or a business relationship that kind of helped you to level up your life? You know, who's somebody that you've met in your life that helped you to think about things a little differently, that helped you to level up what you were doing in terms of your business or your life? Let me know. Let me know if you've met anybody either on a personal side, whether it could be your partner, the person that you're with, or a friendship that kind of helped you to kind of level up your life or look at things differently, or a business relationship or a partnership, or, you know, somebody you met in a networking situation. Let me know. Want to go live? Let me know. I'll tag you in. But that's what I see, right? So I'm a student, right? I'm a student and a teacher, right? And so for me, I'm always trying to understand, like, it's not just about, you know, making millions of dollars for me. It's about the impact that we can all create in the world, right? It doesn't matter what you do. You can make an impact in the world, right? And so when I'm around people who are just making this massive impact in the world, people who are doing these amazing things, people who live life on their own terms, people who don't have to ask permission to do anything because they have the money, the knowledge, the experience, the relationships where they can do anything they want. I'm always curious about that. I'm like, how are you able to do this? So sometimes I get together with, you know, I'm fortunate enough to get together with some of these people, and I'm just like a student. I'm asking so many questions. I look at how they move, and, you know, and I often wonder, like, I used to wonder, like, why are they friends with me? Why is this multi-millionaire friend with me? Why is this person friends with me? And what I realize is because I bring value. I help them level up their life maybe in different ways, right? And so who in your life has helped you to level up your life or your business in a way that, you know, you're thinking differently or you're acting differently in a positive way? Let me know. Could be, maybe it's your kids. Maybe you changed your life once you had kids. Maybe you changed your life once you met a certain person. Maybe you changed the way that you see things in terms of your career once you were able to meet somebody who kind of re-spark that energy into you and let you know how valuable your skill set is. You know, one of the things I found really interesting too is, like, this isn't necessarily a business relationship, but I remember once, this has happened to me twice in my career. I've gone to interview for a job, and in the middle of the interview, they stopped the interview. They say, look, no, this job isn't for you. We're going to bump you up to another position. This has happened to me twice in my career. And the very last job I had 7 years ago when I was managing training for this company, I remember going into that job, and before I went for the job, I had this conversation with a friend of mine. And he's like, yeah, man, I was telling him I was going to apply for this job. The job was a senior trainer, right? They wanted somebody who was a seasoned trainer for this corporation, this finance company. So I was talking to a friend of mine. I told him I was going to go apply for the job. And he kind of gave me like this really powerful pep talk, right? He's like, yeah, man, Danny, like you've been in this training thing for a while. You've been coaching people. Like, man, your skill set is deep. Like, you know, are you really sure you want this job? Like, you should be on a whole nother level. Like, he really pumped me up before I went in for this interview. And so we started talking about my skills and so on. So I go to the job interview. And again, it was for a senior trainer. They were looking for someone to be a trainer for this company, this finance company. But I was so tired of my other job and I was just looking for something different. I go in, I do well in the first interview. I come back for the second interview. And in the second interview, I'm interviewing with two people. The person who was going to be my boss and then that person's boss, who happened to be the leader of human resources for this company. During that second interview, they stop the whole interview. They say to me, look, now this job isn't for you. I'm like, what? Then this job isn't for you. We have another job at a higher level. It's a manager's job. We think you'll be better for that job. I finished the interview. Long story short, I end up getting the manager's job. I end up making $29,000 more, plus another $10,000 bonus. And so I'm only saying this, all of that happened because of that pep talk that I had with my friend. Like, he's that kind of guy. He's the type of guy that really gives you that motivation and that pep talk. So because I had that conversation with my friend before I went in for that interview, I was primed. I went into that interview feeling like, yo, this job is mine. And so it really helped me to level up my mindset when I went into that interview, so much so that they said they bumped me up from a senior trainer role to a manager role. I ended up making $50,000 more, all based on an interview of a job that I didn't even go in for. And so that's what I'm saying. When you talk about leveling up your relationship, sometimes you have that friend or that partner or, you know, somebody in your life that just kind of helps you to see things differently, helps you to level up your life, helps you to level up your mindset. Do you guys have people like that? Let me know if you do. Yeah, I just thought I think it's interesting because sometimes we take our relationships for granted. And, you know, I always remind my friend of that conversation that I had before that interview and how he pumped me up and got me like primed for that interview. And that really kind of launched like my career in managing and coaching, you know, that one job. And that was about maybe 7 or 8 years ago. So let me know, do you have somebody in your life that does that for you? Do you have somebody in your life who pumps you up, who gets you to look at things differently, who helps you who challenges you, you know, who gets you to step outside of your comfort zone? Do you have people like that in your life? Type yes if you do. I'm lucky I got a few people like that. You know, I have some really powerful conversations with people. My wife is amazing. She's always like pushing me to do more. You know, she really believes in what I'm trying to do. So I'm fortunate like that. Jeff said, yes, sir. Oh, I see Jeff A.D. Martin in here. Actually, Jeff is one of those people for me. You know, Jeff and I have really powerful conversations all the time, and we're always sharing information and encouraging each other and helping each other stretch. So Jeff is definitely one of the guys for me who helps me to level up my life and my business and my mindset. Jill said yes. I love that. I love it. And I think and we're lucky, like some of us in here who are saying yes, we're lucky. Some people I know don't have people like that. They don't have people in their life who challenge them, you know? Jeff said, appreciate you, fam. Likewise. Yeah. You know, I think it's really challenging for a lot of people who don't have positive people in their lives. Like, I know people like that. You know, I've been around their family members. They're all very negative. Hey, what's up, Chris? And so I think it's important that if we don't have somebody in our life that kind of helps us level up our lives, that gets us that encourages us, that gets us to get outside of our comfort zone, we actually have to seek out those people. You know, you have to seek them out. And sometimes it can be getting a coach. You know, sometimes it can be finding a mentor. Sometimes it can be, you know, joining networking events, because some of us are fortunate enough to have those people in our lives, people who look out for us, who want to see us win. But I know people who don't. I know people who unfortunately don't have people in their lives who want to see them win or who encourage them, because maybe they're dealing with their own baggage and they can't give that to them. So I always find it really interesting to learn about people who have, you know, these really amazing relationships, and how those individuals have gotten you to think different, have gotten you to level up your life, level up your business. You know, I've been very fortunate. Like, I have, you know, mentors and coaches for different things. Like, I have a business coach that I talk to every 2 weeks, and yeah, this guy's like a business genius, right? He has all these angles, and he's really good at like drawing out things from me and getting me to look at different lines of business and how to communicate with my potential clients. So I'm lucky that I have him on the business side. But then I have a mentor who is heavily involved in the community and doing community work and really trying to change the landscape of, you know, gun violence and create safe communities here in Toronto, Canada. His name is Louis March. He's the founder of Zero Gun Violence Movement. So he's a friend and a mentor of mine, and he's helped me to kind of level up my mindset around how I can give more, what I can contribute, how I can give back to lift others up, help people break through barriers. So, you know, Louis is somebody that, you know, we have these in-depth conversations about that all the time. So do you have people like that in different areas of your life? Like somebody who kind of helps you with your health and wellness, somebody who helps you with your mindset, somebody who gets you to look at maybe investments a little bit different. Because having the right relationships can take your life and your business to like a whole nother level. You know, a whole nother level. You know, I was working in the corporate world, struggling in so many areas of my life. And what I didn't realize was, well, I knew this, but you know, when you're struggling, sometimes you think you're alone or you don't want to be a burden to other people. And so I wasn't really calling on my friends or people that I should have at that time. And once I did, they helped me to see things completely different. I started my side hustle and then ended up growing my business, and I quit my job. So that's what like having the right relationships can help you to do. They can push you over the edge to do the things that you know you need to do to become a better version of yourself, or to break through those barriers, or to leave that old mindset behind, or to just level things up. You guys agree with that or no? Let me know if you agree with that, or maybe you disagree. You know, a lot of it has to do with you, but sometimes when you don't believe in yourself, you need someone to believe in you until you can catch up with that belief, right? And so that's what I see. I see that a lot. Let me know if you want to go live. I'm really interested in learning about a relationship that, Dr. Vibe, how you doing? CP2 said, you need someone to give you a chance. I like that. You need someone to give you a chance. Building relationships is key. You first have to know that you are the brand. Think about when investors invest in a company. I agree. Completely agree with that. That's a good one. Chris said 100% agree. See, I think a lot of us, you know, I don't know if you know people like this, but I know people, I'll get to you in a sec, Dr. Vibe, who they don't value relationships until they need them. You know, I know people like that. You know, you try to catch up with them all the time. You're the one that's always trying to make the relationship work. You're the one that's always reaching out, and then you never really hear from them, right? So I see that all the time. Let's see. Let's tap in. We're going to go live with here. Let's go live with CP2. Let's go live. Let's see. Chris said, what if you don't have those relationships? Completely agree, Chris. And that's what I was saying. We have to like go to networking environments. You have to reach out to, you know, online communities, find coaches, find mentors, find somebody who's going to help you level up, right? like I said, not all of us have those relationships. So we're not all fortunate enough to have those types of relationships, right? So we have to seek them out. And I completely get it. Like I know people who don't have that. And so that's what I'm saying, Chris. Go to find something that you're interested in and go to those networking events, go to those types of events and seek out those people. Or look at Facebook groups. Like sometimes you can form those relationships online. You can form them anywhere, right? You don't have to know the person forever to have those types of relationships. Try to get you in CP2 brand. It didn't come through. Dr. Vibe, let's go. But yeah, I agree. We're not all fortunate enough to have those types of relationships. Dr. Vibe, what's going on?
I miss you, D Stone. How are you and Miss Stone's doing? What's going on?
Man, we're good, brother. We're good. How are you?
I am blessed, highly favored, magnet for miracles, and a solution for someone's problem.
I know that. All
that. Right. This is one of the core topics to me. Because and it's relationships are everything.
Thank you.
It's everything.
Yeah.
And if anyone wants to contest me, DM me offline. I'll give you my address and we can sit on my porch and talk about it.
Yeah, I see a lot of people, and I was saying this before you came on, I think, when you see people who have a certain level of success or what they think is successful, how many times have you heard somebody stand up and say, I want to thank me, and I want to thank me, and I want to thank me for all of my success and everything I've achieved in my life. And so I thought this was an interesting topic because I see a lot of people who don't value relationships until they need that person. Once they need you, then it's like, oh,
too late.
Yeah.
Too late.
Yeah.
Because that person will see you out, and the next time you call them, they ain't gonna answer.
Right.
like I will actually piggyback on what Danny is saying, that you should have 2 or 3 people in your life that know everything good and everything bad about you.
Yeah. Yes. I like it.
You need to have those people that they are, as they say, they're your ride or die people.
Right.
Those are the people that when you call at 2 o'clock in the morning, they're going to say they're not going to say, why are you calling me? They're going, what's going on? What's going on? How can I help you?
Right.
And that's not only business wise, but that's all personal wise. Because and Danny can attest to this, people like you before the service or the product you're offering.
Oh, 100%. 100%. And, I remember, I think it was about 15 years ago. I remember one of my friends was in, I think California at the time, and was going through something.
Wow. Hold on a second. We have someone very, very, very good on here. Trinity Scribes, who does all the scribes for my major mentor, Mario Armstrong, is in this. So, and if you want a person that does like scribing during your IG lives,
okay,
that is a person. Mario Armstrong uses her. If Mario uses her, she's all that. Actually, I got to promote it next week next week, Monday at 4:00 in the afternoon. I am interviewing my main online mentor, Mario Armstrong, on IG Live.
Okay, you got to send that reminder to me. I'm going to.
I will. I'm sort of keeping it like a hidden secret to many of my close people, but I'm going to shout it out because I think it'll be his first Canadian interview. And wow. Here's a guy that does stuff for CNN, NBC Live, has his own show on YouTube. When he launched the first series of shows, he did it on Facebook Live, and they were sponsored by NASDAQ. He films in the NASDAQ studios.
Wow.
But when he first launched his online show, it was broadcast on the Entrepreneur Facebook site.
Wow.
And he got sponsorship from FedEx, was one of his major sponsors. So I've been sort of keeping it quiet, but I'm gonna my core individuals, the people my relationship people, they're gonna find out about that.
So everybody who doesn't know, this is Dr. Vibe. He is the world famous Dr. Vibe show.
Just a guy.
He's had over
Just
over 2,000 conversations with, you know, the top people in so many different industries and so many different. So he's a seasoned professional when it comes to relationships and conversations.
Oh.
And so,
Yeah.
you know, you definitely have to tune in to what Dr. Vibe is doing.
I think I like to share through either my experience or someone else's experience. So I'm going to give an example of a relationship story for your audience.
Yeah,
so it was about 3 or 4 years ago, I was doing I call them conversations. Everyone else would call them interviews. I was doing some conversations with a client who had a number of book authors. And then she said, you know what, Dr. Vibe, I'm having a fundraiser downtown Toronto, and I'd like to have you on the panel. I go, me? On the panel? I'm going, all right. So I show up. There was two ladies there from a PR agency, and there was a gentleman who was, and at the time he was Global News for those who are outside of Canada. That's one of our major television networks. He was the head of their news programming and their ethics.
Okay.
I'll just call his first name Ron. I'm not going to give his last name because I don't have permission. I don't know if I have permission to use it. So I have a conversation with Ron. We start chatting and everything. And this is another thing too, for people who are going into relationships, have a broad knowledge of things, because you never know who that person or persons are going to be all about. Now, you don't have to be an expert, but as long as you can carry a conversation. So Ron and I were chatting, and I found out, he has a brother that lives in Ohio. He also has another brother that teaches at Ohio State University. I go, oh, wow, like I like college football, I like outside. Yeah. So we chat. The panel discussion happens. It goes on. When it's finished, I approach Ron and say, Ron, you were fantastic. You taught me so much. He said, Dr. Vibe, I can tell you're good at what you do. I go, what? And so I had my game face on. I said, hey, Ron, and this was 9:30 at night. Would you mind coming on my show? He said, no problem. Here's my phone number. Here's my assistant's phone number and information. Get in touch with me. The first thing that I got back to my yard, I emailed Ron, emailed his assistant.
Yeah.
By 11 o'clock that night, the interview was booked at Global.
Wow.
So it gets better. So go down there. Ron gives me a full tour of Global. And this is going back a bit because their host of their national news, Leslie Roberts.
Yeah.
He introduces me to Leslie Roberts. He takes me on the set of Entertainment Tonight. He has me sit on the set of where they do their national news.
Wow. Then
we sit down and he just shares his story. After, he said, great. So I said, can we do a part 2? He says, no problem. So we do a part 2 with him. And he says after, he says, look, Dr. Vibe, if you're ever applying for anything at Global or Chorus, you can use my name.
Wow. Wow, that's big. That's major. That's
right?
major.
So relationships and also follow up and follow through.
Yeah.
Is huge. And not only for your friends, especially for your friends, but especially for business people, because business people aren't used to getting follow up and follow through.
No. No, it's true. It's true. I meet, business people all the time, and they always tell me if people, they'll be out somewhere, somebody will run up on them, say, ask them for their information or ask can they, send them an email, and then they never do, right? I think the problem is a lot of people don't know how to network properly, right? So especially, I'm sure all of us here have gone to networking events. You go to these networking events where there's hundreds and hundreds of people, and people are just handing out their cards like a deck of cards, right? Okay, here, and you get these cards. They barely spoke any words to this person. They handed you the card. They walked off, right? That's not how you network, right? And why would you get all these cards? What's the connection? What do they do? How can we help each other? How can we both sort of expand our brand and reach more people, right? Like, I don't want everybody's business card.
No, I don't.
You know what I'm saying? I don't even, if we're not aligned, then what's the point of getting that business card, right? So I've seen people come, it's almost like a badge of honor that you got 62 business cards. Yeah. You're not going to connect with those people, right? So we have to learn how to network properly and how you can be of service. You got to lead with service, right?
Well, I'm going to add on to that. And I love, one of my favorite words is networking, because I say to people, most people's net ain't working. I'll just leave it at that. I'll just leave that. Here is a tip when you go to events like that. Most of the time, when you meet someone you don't know, what's usually the first question they ask you?
Well, what do you do?
All right. I don't do that.
I don't either. I don't do that either.
All right. The first question I'll ask someone is, why do you do what you do? And so first of all, they're going to go, they're going to give you screw face, because they never heard that question before.
Right. Exactly. Yep.
Right. And if they're serious, they'll tell you why they do what they do, and they'll tell you whether they like it or not.
Right.
And if you're a coach, that's an opportunity, a coaching opportunity.
Right. Right. Right.
Because they have a pain point.
That's right. Yeah, I think it's more important to find out the type of person that you're talking to, as opposed to what they do. Because even if it's not a good fit for you, like you said, you're a master at making connections and connecting people. That's one thing I love about you. You have no problem connecting to good people, right? Yeah. And you and I are the same like that. I would never connect to people if I don't believe in what you do and what they do. I'm not going to make that connection. Yeah. If the link is broken, I'm not going to do it. Like, if I know that you're somebody, and I know you on a personal level, we're friends. But if you came to me and you wanted to meet somebody in my network, and I didn't think that person was reliable, dependable, their values were even aligned with yours, I would tell you that up front. And I would say, it's up to you if you want to make that connection, but I'm just going to let you know, I don't know the person like that. I don't see the alignment. Maybe they're not about what they say they are, but go ahead and I'll make the connection if you want. Yeah, I think it's been said for the last few years, if you have 6 solid relationships, you're good. Yeah. Yeah. You're good. And just piggybacking on what Danny was saying, a perfect example, last week, I always like to do research online about what's going on, especially in the areas that I'm passionate about. And I reached out to this gentleman who's an educator down in New York State. And we began having a conversation. And I said, hey, why don't you come on the show and talk about it? He wants to come on and talk about, right now, no one's going to school. Right. And he's really concerned about what are Black parents or parents doing with Black boys who are not in school right now. Okay. Yeah, that's a good topic. Right? Yeah. So I said, you know what? There's someone in my community that I want this guy to meet, because I'm always thinking the people that are really close to me, how can I help them level up? Because they're always helping me level up. Right. So there's a gentleman in my community named Dr. Marvin Thompson. He's been an educator down the States for about 30, 40 years, everything from principal, educator, superintendent. And a few years ago, he had a documentary that was actually about the school to prison pipeline that was broadcast on the Oprah network. Yes, I remember that. Yeah. So I said, you know what? Let me bring these guys together. So first I talked to the gentleman who was originally I spoke to, Dr. Paul Miller. I said, read his bio. Are you interested in speaking with a guy like this? He goes, yeah, and I also been writing a script for a TV show about education, this and that. I said, love it. So got them together on Saturday night, and it was magic. I just sat back and said it was magic. So they're both going to be on in a few nights, and they're already looking to see how they can help each other level out. Right. Hey, Dr. Yaffa, there's another great lady. Yeah. Great educator and passionate about Jamaica and yacht in Jamaica. Yeah, Dr. Yaffa. Yeah. But yeah, that's Jamaica. No, that's great. Oh man, she's hardcore Yaffa. Yaffa. But yeah, relationships, and I have known Dr. Yaffa for at least 30 years, Dr. Yaffa. Wow. 30 years. And she is doing outstanding stuff. And I almost believe you have a foundation, Dr. Yaffa, that helps Jamaican youth in Jamaica, not the ones up here, in Jamaica. Oh, yeah. So, but those are just some examples that, it's all about people. And as I say to people, you didn't come into the world by yourself, so why are you trying to do it by yourself? Yeah, and I think, I think for a lot of us, it's, I think a lot of people just don't really value either personal relationships or business relationships or networking relationships until you actually really need them. Get in touch. Okay.
Yes, I
Yeah.
will. I will get in touch, Doctor. Yes, about time you came on the Dr. Vibe show and talked about the Jamaica project. You see how she spells it?
Yeah, I like that.
Jamaica
I like
project.
that. Yeah. So, but I know Vibe, like that's what I like about you. You're always connecting people. You're
Always,
always like
always.
I know that from the very first time I met you that you're somebody who's you love to help other people level up. You're constantly learning and growing.
Mhm.
And this is another thing too, right? Like you need relationships that are going to help you to learn and grow. Like if you all are staying at the same level, nobody's doing anything to stretch themselves. Nobody's doing anything to get uncomfortable. Then you're always going to stay right here, right?
Yeah.
And that's why you need this new energy sometimes. That's why you need to be thinking differently. That's why you need to step outside of your comfort zones. And so that's why we're talking a little bit about the power of relationships,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Here's another example. I'm blessed. Let me just say there is a media property that put it out a few weeks ago that they're taking submissions for new media content.
Okay.
And I saw it, and they had a form you had to fill out. What's your pitch? What's your proposal? And folks, that ain't my game. You can tell I'm one of these people,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
So
me too.
I'm trying to write it out. And 2 Saturdays ago at 10 o'clock at night, I get a phone call from a gentleman who's a member of my community who's done documentaries, video, audio, all kind of stuff. And I said, "You are a blessing." He goes, "What do you mean?" I said, I need a favor. And he says, "What?" "I'm writing out this pitch to this media entity and I'm having such a hard time." He said, so we sat down on the phone for an hour and a half.
Wow.
He walked me through what I needed to do. And then he said to me, I didn't ask him, he says, "Look, when you're done, send it to me."
Okay. You see?
So I spent 2 Sundays ago all day. I'm glad no one took pictures of me because I was going, "Oh my God, I don't know, this sort of thing." So I sent him, and the next day he says, "That's perfect."
Yeah, and I mean but that says something about like people aren't going to extend themselves unless they believe in you as a person, unless they see your heart, and like no one's gonna do that. No one's gonna sit with you on the phone for an hour and a half and help you put together a proposal unless you've impacted them in some positive way.
Well,
and that's what relationships are. It's
yeah,
give and
like
take.
here's a man, he does all that stuff. His wife is in the nursing profession, so she's going like crazy. He has twins.
Wow.
I'm going, this man is calling me at 10 o'clock at night.
Wow.
He's got a family. He's got twins. And and then I'm going, I would probably have to pay, if I had to go, probably at least $200 to $300 for that.
Yeah. Oh yeah, more than that for sure.
And then whoever I paid would probably not offer to follow it up with me.
No, definitely not. Definitely not. No.
So I just said, yeah, that submission is in. We'll see what becomes of it.
Fingers crossed for that one, man.
Well, if it happens, it's a national thing.
Wow, that's awesome, man.
So I will, and I'm finding I'm going to if I have the leverage, we're looking to get yourself or Mr. Martin on that opportunity.
Well, that would be awesome, man. You know, I'm always open for interesting conversations.
Absolutely. And actually, as you and I are having a conversation, I already have I'm already speaking it that I already have an episode that I want you two to come on and talk about.
I love that, man. I love it. And that's the thing, right? And this is what I think people have to understand, because I think Chris said, you know, what if I don't have somebody in my life like that? What if I don't have somebody that encourages me and lifts me up? And I think, and I know I've met people who don't have that. And I think it's important that you seek it out. Like if you don't have somebody in your life encouraging you, challenging you to get uncomfortable, to do things, to elevate your life, I think it's important to seek them out. And it doesn't always have to be this traditional relationship that you've had. Mm-hmm. It can be somebody you meet online in some online forum. It can be, you know, somebody that you just it could be a coworker that you barely know. Like where you find support, there's no formula for where you find support in your life. You know, some of the most supportive people that I've ever met are people who hardly even know me. Some of them are even my followers on social media. So we have to seek it out, though.
I'm gonna put it out there that, Chris, I hear where you're coming from, because I have those moments that I don't feel I got nobody upset me, though it's not real. But sometimes I have those moments. And Chris, if you're still on or you're watching replay, touch base with me.
Yeah.
All right, because you know what, we all have those moments when we feel that we're the only one.
Yeah.
And sometimes all we all need is just someone on the other end of that phone, or the other end of a screen, or the other end of a text message to do that. So I fully get it. Like when I was writing that pitch proposal, I felt like I was all alone.
Yeah.
Hey, Chris. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, you can hit me up too, Chris. I'm definitely available.
Yeah.
You know, I just think that, you know, Vibe and I are here. Dr. Vibe has been in the media for however many years and doing all these interviews and stuff and these conversations. But what you need to know is that, like, you have people in your corner, right? Like, I'm in your, I don't even need to know you to know that, you know, I know that there's something special about you. And that's one thing that I say to everybody, because we all need to hear that, right? Life beats us up. All these things don't go right. Now with COVID and everybody's home, a lot of people are uncertain and fearful. And maybe you feel like you're alone. Maybe you feel like you don't have a champion in your corner. But one thing about me is I'm definitely in your corner. I don't even need to know you to know that there's something special about you. There's always a way to level up your life. There's always a way to take it to the next level, to become the best version of yourself.
Well, Chris,
that's what I'm about.
Chris, just you being like that, saying I don't got nobody, is a big thing, because there's a lot of people out there won't even do that. Yeah. You know, you're sharing yourself with two guys that you don't know. Right. You just know us from this, saying, you know what? I'm all by myself. How can I get help?
Yeah.
That is a major step. And you know what? It's just like Mary Armstrong said today, a lot of people are holding themselves back because they don't ask for help.
Yeah, it's true. We need to ask for help.
Personally and business-wise. Yeah. They don't ask for help.
Yeah. Yeah. And there's so many resources out there. There's so many people who want to help, but nobody's asking them for help, right? You know, that's the thing. Like, there's so many people out there who want to give business advice, who want to coach people, who want to give all this information, but people just aren't asking. And we're at a time right now when everybody's home, right? Everyone's home. Muhammad, how you doing? Now's the time to be reaching out to people that maybe you followed for years and asking them for advice about something. Now's the time to reach out to
volunteer. Yeah, that's a great suggestion. Volunteering. Yeah. Here,
yes,
where with the, well, you know what, Chris, and I just say, ask, and I'm gonna put it out there to everybody here who's stuck. If you're stuck and you want to move forward, ask this question of yourself: what's the thing that if you didn't do it during this time, because things are going to change, what thing at this time, if you didn't do it, you're going to regret?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And you know, a lot of people are stuck because they're not really clear about what they want too.
Clarity
is like, now is the time to say, okay, well, when this is all over, what do I want my relationship to look like? What do I want to go back to that same job? Like, now's the time to get clear about what you want in all areas of your life, so you can start to map things out. And a lot of us don't do that. We know what we don't want, but we don't know what we do want. So we're in this state of just feeling stuck and feeling like you can't move forward, but you don't even know what it is. You're not clear about what you want, right?
I'm actually going to give another example, and both Danny and I and Danny's wife are part of this. I was doing some work yesterday, and there is a mutual acquaintance that I know and the Stones know that put out a post yesterday. Did you read that post?
Yes.
Okay, we don't go any further.
Yeah.
And I'm getting emotional about it right now because it really hit my heart.
Mm-hmm.
And once I read it, I called that person.
Okay.
And thanked them for that.
Mm.
Right? So don't save the thank yous, I cares, till that person may be gone.
Right. Right. Or right. I'm struggling. Don't say that I'm struggling, thinking that no one can help, or they don't want to know, or I don't want to be a burden. If you're struggling mentally, physically, spiritually, reach out to people. Yeah. And that's the thing that we have to stop thinking that we're a burden to somebody else. Here's what's interesting about relationships. It's like, we expect people to come to us when they're struggling, right? But then we lock it off, and we're not open and honest with them when we need that, right? And that's how relationships work. That's how you break through barriers. That's how you level up your mindset. It's sharing, not in the times when everything is great. Oh,
It's
let's
when
go for
they're
a
not
beer.
going well.
Okay, ha ha ha.
Yep.
But times when we need each other, when we have that dip in life.
Yeah.
And we can't wait. We can't wait on that, because sometimes those feelings and that negativity or that self-doubt or even that self dislike can turn into other things. And then it starts to manifest itself into depression or anger. And then it gets, even out of control after that. So that's why relationships are so important with the right people, man. And that's why it's important to make that disconnection between some people who you might need to let go, but to also nurture those relationships of the people who are there for you.
Yes.
Right.
You want quality, not quantity.
Yeah, I don't care about having 50 friends. I don't need 50 friends.
You want quality, not quantity. I'm actually reading something on a shirt right here. It says greatness begins at the acceptance of your own improvement.
Yes. And I think we've had this conversation too. And I think, sometimes we put so much stock in other people believing in us, right? Like, if they don't believe in me, I can't do this. And we have to do some of that self-work ourselves too, right? You have to get up and you have to know that, take control over the things that you have control over, right? What are you doing? Like, we're all home every day. Who's doing something productive every single day? Who's learning? Who's growing? Who's reading books? Who's writing that book, right? Who's having those meaningful conversations that you never have time to have because you're always running around? Like, these are all the things that we could be doing right now every day that help us level up our life and our business right now.
Yeah, because folks, again, this is a generational moment, what we're going through here. A generational moment. Everyone on this planet right now is being affected either directly or indirectly by the sea situation. Everybody.
That's right.
Not just North America, not France, not England, not the West Indies, not everyone is affected by it.
Right.
What you want to do, and if you need the help, especially a gentleman like Danny, how to set you up for when the things turn. They're not going to be like they were before, but it's certainly going to be a different world.
It's going to be very different. I think now we have to start, and this is why relationships are important, because now's the time you have to start thinking about what's going to happen when this is over. Everyone's talking about going back to normal, and we've had this conversation. First of all, was normal good enough for you, right? Like, do you want to go back to a job that you really weren't feeling? Do you want to kind of be in this relationship that wasn't really loving and caring? So we have to ask ourselves, first of all, do I even want to go back to what I was doing, how life was before? Because I know, going through this, I want to be further ahead. I don't want things to go back to exactly the way they were.
No, mine is already ahead.
Yeah.
My mind is already ahead.
Right.
Because it would disappoint me that anyone who's watching this live on the replay, that your life before this is the same after this,
right?
Or not, or finding a way, not having it better than after this, or looking at ways for it to be better.
Right.
Because you may not be there yet to say it's better, but you're in the process, which is a very important word, process of leveling it up. Because go ahead.
No, like you were saying, but it's even like a new perspective. Like, we're always so on the go that, like, maybe now you're like, man, I really love spending time with my kids, or this quality time, or I actually had time to actually think about myself, or to reflect on some things that I might have been avoiding, or finally reach out and have that conversation with that friend or that family member that I haven't talked to for 3 years, right? So when we're talking about leveling up your life, it doesn't necessarily just mean financially. It can mean physically, spiritually, a new understanding, new learnings about yourself or your family or your situation, right? That you just never really stopped to think about before. So that's a way to level up your life as well, your mindset.
Yeah. Like the other day, was it Mario that said, or somebody said it, that revenue is not just money. Revenue is also data.
That's true.
And I went,
information.
Like data about yourself or data about something, that's revenue too. And I don't watch a lot of TV, but when I do, I love watching reality cooking shows.
Yeah.
And there's a show, it was the MasterChef UK series, and they had one of the past winners on there, and she said, I'm running 2 restaurants now. I'm going crazy, poorer than I've ever been, but happier than I've ever been.
There you go.
I went,
happiness, man. You have
happiness.
You have to define. Yeah, that always happens, right? I always have somebody on, and we have these amazing conversations, and then we get cut off. And this happens to, I think, Dr. Vibe and I and Louie and I a couple of times. We always get caught off when we're in the middle of these great conversations. So thanks everybody for coming back. But, Dr. Vibe, thanks a lot for sharing, right? Thanks a lot for like being open and honest and just kind of sharing, your perspective about the power of relationships. I've known him for a number of years now. He's had me on the Dr. Vibe show. Make sure you follow him. But I think that he's somebody who gets it. He understands the importance of relationships. He's always somebody that's trying to connect me with other people and make these connections. And that's something that I realized a long time ago as well. I realized the power of, having the right people in your corner. I realized the power of networking, the power of building relationships. And it's really kind of taken my life to a whole new level and my confidence level as well. Like I'm never really concerned about getting too low in life or struggling too much because I know that I'm surrounded by really great people and people who want to see me win. Jill said kindness and giving always helps others and improve your relationships too. Jill, you're 100% right. And that's why I said, we have to learn to lead with giving, right? And it doesn't have to be anything monetary, like giving information, showing interest, and even successful people need to hear kind words, right? So we can all give that. We can all give love. We can all give kindness. We can all give our time. And sometimes that's all people want, We can't make an assumption that everybody, wants something of monetary value or something from us. Sometimes, like you said, Jill, kindness and just showing empathy and showing that you care can mean so much to people. And so I love that. That's really awesome. So, anything else that you guys want to add about relationships? CP2 brand, did you want to go live? I know you tried to go live earlier. Let me know if you want to go live. But I just think, during this time, it's a great opportunity for us to think about our relationships with people and especially your loved ones, right? Now, are you living up to that relationship? Are you loving on those people? Are you showing them that you care about them? And so this is a time for us to check in and check in with ourselves and see how we're treating other people at this time. Let's go live with CP2 brand here. It's a really great conversation that we're having today. I think this is really good stuff. Good day, sir.
Oh, let me turn this thing around. Oh, there we go.
Hi, my man. How you doing, brother?
Right. Good.
Yeah, we're talking all about relationships and relationship building and all that kind of stuff, What are your
Can
thoughts
you hear me?
about it?
Can you hear me okay?
I got you now, yeah.
All right. So I learned early on a few things. One, that resources are important.
Yes.
And two, any business that any entrepreneur that I know or it comes to me says, "Wait, I'm starting a business." First thing is get a mentor. Get a mentor. Those are the key things. But I learned early on in my college days that building relationships is the key to getting through college.
Yeah. That's good.
and B, those relationships you build in college are going to help you when you get out of college because you don't know who they know and what circles they're part of.
Yeah.
But that's what I learned like early on. So I knew, when everyone else was out clubbing, partying, sure, that was great to do that. But at the same time, those relationships were the key. And I think the reason I'm successful today is because of the relationships I built in college. Most of my business partners are people that I went to college with. They are very smart, educated, and they make me think at a higher level.
Yes.
Yes.
No, you're so right. Go ahead.
And I want to say one. I want to say one thing. These are two things I want everybody to remember. Haters gonna hate, and doubters gonna doubt. Okay, no matter what.
Simple as that.
So simple as that. Let me repeat that. Haters gonna hate, and doubters gonna doubt.
Yeah.
It's as simple as that.
Yeah. Yeah. And, you know, and that's a great point that you raised. It's like, you know, sometimes, you know, especially in college or high school or, you know, early on in your working career, you meet people, and I'm really good with this. You meet people, you kind of hit it off, you like what they're about, and it kind of just ends there, right? I'm the type of person where if I like what you're about, it doesn't matter where we meet, we can potentially be friends or business partners or whatever. And I think it's more important to find good people than it is to, you know, always find that person that can help you on this thing right now. Because sometimes what I find in business is that people focus on exactly what they need. Like, I need this investor, but that investment might end up costing you money and not making you money, depending on who that person is or that organization or that company that you're partnering with and what they want, what the cost is for that money, right? So it's more, I think, to me, it's important to focus on the relationship, what that person, that organization is all about, and not just on what you need from them.
The other thing I want to say is I know a lot of people that walk into something and say, "What's in it for me?"
Right, right.
Okay. Those people, I hate to say it, will never be successful.
Right.
Because they're out there chasing something. What's in it for me?
Right.
I mean, that's just not going to get you very far.
Yeah. Yeah. There are people that go into these relationships where it's about them. What am I going to get? Or if you and I are in a relationship, they think, I need to get more out of this than you, right? So you're right.
Exactly.
Yeah. No, that's good. Those are really great points, man. Thanks for sharing. Anything else you want to add before you check off?
Yeah, I'm reading this book.
Yeah.
I think I mean, for last year, I got these 11 books for Christmas. Okay.
Okay.
Which were like highly recommended for entrepreneurs and businesses. And I'm reading a great book. It's called The Art of Being Unreasonable.
Ah, okay.
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 So I can show you the book. It's right here.
Yeah.
I recommend this book. I mean, this guy is worth billions of dollars, and it shows you. He goes through how he made it and how he really, you know, looked at change. Everyone's doing cookie cutter stuff. How do I think outside the box? How do I what the thing is, right? Because everyone's doing X, Y, and Z. Again, it goes back to what you said about this pandemic. When we go back, what's the next big thing, right? What is the opportunity that's going to exist when we get back out there? One is, look, this is an opportunity to network, go on Zoom conferences, go to networking, do things. But what is the next thing that's going to come? What is the new normal, right? And so the art of being unreasonable is basically walking through, to a certain extent, saying everyone's buying. For instance, this guy says, look, he built a big home building company. He said everyone was building cookie cutter template homes with basements. We went and we saw a market which said to buy homes without basements.
Okay.
So we reduce our costs, higher profit margins. So these are the type of things you got to think. What is the new norm? Sure, people are always going to buy. That market's going to be there for people with basements and this and that. But there's this new market that hasn't been touched, hasn't been tapped.
Right.
So first to the market, obviously you may get competition, but you're the first. So now you have the knowledge, experience, know-how. Everyone else is trying to play catch up to you because you've already got that knowledge and experience, right?
Great point.
So these are the type of things you got to start thinking about. But how are you going to do that? One is get a mentor, somebody who's been through and understands these different things and stuff, and understanding this type of stuff. I think that's key.
Definitely, man. I mean, like I've mentioned, I have lots of mentors. I have a coach. But the other thing too is, even if you don't know, like now, like you're saying, there's so many free webinar calls and all these things. Then jump on some. Maybe you don't know what the next thing is, but there's lots of people that are talking about the newest trends that are coming out, what to expect when this is all over. So if you're confused and you don't know where to start, jump on some of those calls. You know, listen to what people are talking about. Follow some people and look at what their posts are talking about in terms of business and opportunities. So you don't have to figure all this stuff out alone. You know, it's great if you have mentors and so on. If you don't, then you can jump on a lot of these free video calls and hear what people are talking about. Start listening to how people are preparing for when all this is over, because this is a really interesting time. This is a time, you know, what was it? I think during the 2008 crash is when Uber came out. What was it? Airbnb. There were like some of the most billion-dollar companies were formed during like the last recession or whatever, right?
Right. Uber, Airbnb, all these big companies. Exactly. They came out in the last thing, you know. So yeah, you just got to look for it. For instance,
No, that's great, man. Yeah,
if
thanks a lot, man.
if you,
That
yeah,
was
no,
really
appreciate
good.
it. Appreciate it. Yeah.
All right, take
Thank
care,
you.
man. See ya.
All right.
That was good. Yeah, that was a great point, man. That was a really great point he mentioned too about getting mentors, right? You know, I can't even tell you how valuable mentors have been to me over the years. And here's the thing about mentors, and this is the thing that I don't like that people think about mentors. Mentorship isn't always somebody older than you giving you advice. That's not always mentorship, right? It's about somebody who can give you advice about life or about something that you're interested in, and they might be younger than you, you know. You know, when it comes to like video games and technology, I'm definitely going to go to maybe somebody who's younger, who knows a lot about video games and knows a lot about technology. So whatever your interest is, try to find a mentor in that interest. If you're interested in starting your own business, definitely, I can definitely help you with that. If you're interested in health and wellness, find a mentor in health and wellness. If you're interested in mindset stuff or meditation, find somebody. If you're interested in, you know, how to be a better parent, find somebody or find a group, right? And I think that's really powerful because we all think the way that we think, but when you have outside influences, people who've been there and done that, people who are going through the same struggle or challenge that you're going through, people who are already, you know, who've already done the things that you want to do, it gives you a whole new perspective. And I think a lot of us don't really seek out mentors anymore. And I'm fortunate enough that I have people who I consider friends and mentors who give me a lot of guidance in a lot of areas of my life. And so my mindset has been elevated, my business has been elevated, my relationship's been elevated, all because of mentors, right? And so that was a great point that he mentioned, right? He really talked about finding mentors. How you doing? How you doing, Julie? And so when it comes to, this is one question, like what is your superpower in terms of like your personal relationships or your professional relationships? What is it that you're good at? You know, what is the value that you bring to personal relationships or professional relationships? What is that value? And it's important for us to think about that so that you can play to that strength more, right? And you know, for me, I'm somebody who's like, I'm a very kind of deep thinker and I can analyze things from different perspectives, right? So for me, you know, one of the superpowers for me in terms of my relationships is that I'm really good at, what's up, David? I'm really good at getting people to see things differently sometimes. And so that's my superpower when it comes to building relationships. The other thing is like Dr. Vibe, I'm good at connecting people, right? So those are my superpowers in terms of, and encouraging people. So I'm really good at encouraging people. I'm really good at getting people to see things differently. And I'm really good at connecting people. So those things work for me in my personal relationships and my professional relationships. So what is your superpower? What superpower do you have that you bring to relationships? What is it that you're really good at, right? That help you to really build meaningful relationships? What is it? Those are the three things that I kind of recognize about myself or that other people have said about me that have helped me to kind of build really strong relationships, both personal and business. But what about you? What is it for you? What is your superpower or what are your superpowers when it comes to building relationships? Jill said, deep connections with genuine interest in seeing others succeed. I mean, that goes a long way in terms of any type of relationship. You know, I think that's really important, Jill, because a lot of people, with some mangoes, a lot of people don't, there's this interest in seeing other people succeed, but some people want to see you win, but they don't want to see you win more than them. Some people want to see you have success, but they don't want to see you have more success than them. Some people want to see you make money, but they don't want to see you make more money than them. And so, Jill, you said it. It's about having a deep connections with people. But I like that you said that you're really good at that and seeing genuine interest in seeing them succeed. because it's the genuine interest that's missing from a lot of relationships. You know what I'm saying? Mango said, I want my whole circle to succeed. And this is what I'm saying. This is very rare. You know, a lot of people are good with seeing you win as long as you don't win more than them. Julie Can said, I'm very good at knowing when someone is lying. Hey, that's being the human lie detector is awesome. You know, if you can figure that out, I think that's really important, because unfortunately we're living, it's always been this way. There's always people who try to take advantage. There's always people who lie, who cheat, who steal. But it's good to know your superpower when it comes to building relationships, right? And to hone in on that. So Julie Can, if you're really good at, you know, figuring out when people is lying, you got to tap into that more. Jill, if you're really good at forming deep connections with genuine interest with people, play to that more. Everything that you have, thousands of people out there need, right? And you have to use it to form relationships that are going to help you to level up your life, that are going to help you to level up your business, right? Mango said, knowing about psychology is a big factor. Mango said, facial expressions, body language teach you a lot about people. Yeah, I'm a student of people. Like, I've been in the people helping business my whole life. Plus, I grew up in the projects. So, you know, I'm used to hustlers and people trying to take advantage of you. And then, you know, being a career coach early on, a business coach. And so I'm a student of people as well. And, you know, that being said, I think sometimes too, when we've gotten burned in the past from relationships, we're so much more hesitant moving forward that sometimes potentially great relationships pass us by. And even on a personal level, like maybe you were in a relationship where somebody didn't treat you well, or they cheated on you or something like that. And because of that, you have this guard up, which is rightfully so. I completely understand. But sometimes that wall is up so high that you can't even see over it to see that maybe another potential person that could be that right person for you might have just went by. And so sometimes that's what happens with us too, right? In our personal life and in our business relationship. Sometimes you might have gotten stung by a business deal or a business partner. And again, that wall is up so high that there goes that other opportunity. There goes that other person you should do business with. There goes that potential person you should be in a relationship with. But that wall is up too high, so you can't see over it. So we have to learn too that, you know, you want to go into relationships cautious. You can't just be openly trusting people, but you also have to be a little bit open, because that next person you meet could be someone who just helps you to see something completely different in your life, or see something completely different in your business, or take your business to a whole nother level that you never dreamed of. And so I'm that type of way. I proceed with caution, but once somebody shows me their heart, once they show me what they're about, once I know what their values are and what's important to them, then I know if we should move forward in terms of forming a personal relationship or a business relationship. What's up, Manny boy? My brother's up in here. So that's what I'm saying. It's important for you to understand, what up, little bro? It's important for you to understand what your superpower is in terms of relationships, because that's what can really elevate your life, man. I'm telling you, like, the whole way that I never used to be the most confident person. I never used to even think that I could have a business. I used to look at other people and I'd be like, man, I used to see people talk on stage and I would think, man, I could never speak on a stage. Now I speak on stages in front of thousands of people. But the reason I got there, it's not just because of the work that I did. It's not because I practiced. It's not because I, you know, did all the speaking courses. It's because I had people in my life that believed in me and that said, Danny, you can do this. You got to stretch. You got to go. You got to go hard. You got to, you know, you got to put yourself out there. And so that's what I'm talking about in terms of relationships, how they can take your life and your business to a level that you didn't even imagine. And right now, like where I'm going in terms of my mindset and my investments and all these other things that are going on, is happening because I decided that I wanted to know more about investments and getting my money to work for me. So what did I do? I started a small group of friends and family, of people who I knew who have different areas of expertise. And I said, look, I created this group called the Black Investment Group. There's like only 10 of us. We all share information. We all share information about investments, and we all raise our game in terms of making investments. And so that's the thing, right? Like, if you don't know something, if there's an area of your life that you need to grow more, then it's up to you to seek that out. Find the people who are already doing it. Build those relationships. Maybe you already know some of those individuals. I wanted to get, healthier. So I reached out to some of my buddies who are, who live in the gym, and I start asking them for advice. So now they give me all this fitness advice and how to eat healthy. So you may already have people in your life that can help you grow in some areas of your life, but you just haven't reached out to them yet. So now that we're all home, this might be an opportunity for you to reach out. This might be an opportunity for you to say, hey, man, I'm really trying to learn more about that real estate thing. Or, hey, man, I'm really trying to learn more about this investment thing. Or, hey, I'm just trying to learn how to be a better parent. Or, hey, I'm trying to, I'm struggling in my relationship right now, and I know you and your wife seem really cool, or you and your girlfriend or boyfriend seem cool. What advice could you give me? This is the time to reach out. See, some of us already have those people in our life, but we're not reaching out to them. Okay? So that's just a recommendation that I make. But I just see, I'm somebody who values relationships. I see the power in having the right people in your corner. And I see the power of having like mentors and coaches and those types of things. Because you can only think right here. But when you have other people in your life, they get you up here, right? And that's what, having the right relationships with the right people can do. And that being said, there might be some people that you have to put distance between. You might have to set them aside because their mindset is down here, and they're not willing to level up their mindset. They're not willing to level up the things that they're doing in their lives. Or maybe they're just very negative, and you don't need that negative energy. So now's the time to kind of evaluate your relationships with people and to reach out and let people know how much they mean to you. I do that all the time. I reach out and just tell people like, hey, bro, thanks for whatever. Thanks for this advice, or even things they don't even know that they're teaching me. I reach out to my friends sometimes, and I just like, I was talking to my friend Tash the other day, and, we're from a small town in Dartmouth, Nova Scotia, and, now I'm living in Toronto. But one of the things I love about Tash is that she's somebody who thinks like limitless, and I remember when she first started her own business and we talked about it and I gave her some advice and so on. And she just said, you know what? I want to do something bigger. And next thing I know, she told me she's moving to California. She lives in California for a year. Next thing I know, she's working in Saudi Arabia. And I just acknowledged her. I said, look, like, I just love the way that you always think bigger. And because you think bigger, it rubs off on me. And I can't think I can't think like I have limits. Because you think that you have no ceiling, I have to think that way. And so sometimes it's just a matter of reaching out to your friends and just thanking them for teaching you things that they don't even know that they're teaching you. I'm a firm believer in that. So, that's a lot today. We this is almost a good hour and a half, but the conversation was great. CP2 Brand jumped on and talked a lot about mentors and books and why it's important to read and to level up your life and your business. Dr. Vibe came on and dropped all kinds of nuggets about, the power of relationships and so on. All of you guys chimed in. Joe had some great comments, Mangoes, everybody else in here. You guys had some really great comments. So now I want you to think about your relationships with people. Think about the meaningful relationships you have. And are you guys helping each other level up, or are you guys holding each other back? That's what I want you to think about moving forward, because now is the time when we all should be leveling up. Now's the time we should all be taking action to start to build the life that we want. When this is all over, like Dr. Vibe said, where do you want to be? Do you want to be further ahead or further behind? And your thinking and your relationship and the people that you associate with are going to help you to determine that. So any other questions before we wrap up? Now, this was a long one today, but it was really great conversation. Thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you guys for sharing. I love doing these Ask Coach Stones. We always have great conversations. I'm probably going to come back on Wednesday. So I'll be back Wednesday at 2 p.m. Eastern. Again, if you have any topics you want me to cover, let me know. Business, mindset, goal setting, relationship building, anything, just let me know. And I definitely do a little bit of research before I jump on, and I always, hope that you guys will join in on the conversation as well. So I'm back Wednesday at 2 p.m. If you guys have any questions, let me know. You can DM me at I am Danny Stone. But thanks so much for tuning in, everybody. I really appreciate it. And have a great day. Okay? Take care.